from Blackwater. And now I'm working for NGO Women in Europe for a Common Future. We are a network NGO. I'm going to explain a little bit later. I'm happy that my colleague Fed is also here. And we thought that it is a workshop here, so I'm not doing a presentation of more than 1 hour, but I'm going to do a short presentation, which will be also hopefully a little bit interactive. And then we are going to do a group work. We are dividing you into 4 groups. And so we are sharing our knowledge, because actually, as you can imagine, especially for this topic, gender, there are not really final solutions, or I can just give you some hints, some background, but it's the most important is that you share your knowledge, and so that's why at the end we want to do, like in 20 and half an hour, we want to do such a group work, and I would be very pleased if you all like to share your knowledge with everybody. So, a little bit of background of Women in Europe for a Common Future. We are a network NGO with 100 NGOs, environmental and women's NGO, and this is an overview of our water and sanitation projects. You can see that we are mainly working in Eastern Europe, the EU countries, Bulgaria, Romania, and then the former Soviet republics in the south up to, and then also Afghanistan in the very south, in the very east. So here you have an idea where we are working. I want to start with this definition of sustainable sanitation according to the Sustainable Sanitation Alliance, because we believe with WECF that it's very important for the project that we are running, I'm the sanitation coordinator, that the project are successful, that all the criteria that are set, that are 5, must be fulfilled. Otherwise, it might be very easily that the project might fail. So we have, most important, of course, health and hygiene, environmental and natural resources, technology, operation and maintenance, financial and economic issues, and socio-cultural and institutional aspects. So if one of these aspects is not fulfilled or not taken into account, the project might easily fail. So that is our experience. And if we come now to gender, then you very easily see that gender has a lot of influence in all these aspects. So first, health and hygiene has a lot to do with women and men's aspects, with gender aspects, technology, operation and maintenance, and last but not least, most important, maybe the social, cultural and institutional aspects. So I want to ask you, what is gender? So, what is your idea about gender? I think you have all something in mind. And what is the link between gender and sanitation? So, for example, in your language, is there a term for gender?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay, so what is it?
So, in my language, we define gender as only the division of responsibility between women, men, and children. All this. You look, okay, all these 3 groups together. Yes, let me explain. Yes, because people are confusing the terminology gender and sex.
Wow, super.
We have only,
maybe you should stay here.
Only 2 sexes. Yeah, male and female.
Yeah.
But when you come to talk about gender, it's beyond sex.
Yeah, yeah. Very good. Maybe you place me here. So, what else? Like in German, in the German language, we have not really a term for gender. So we just say always the term for sex. But so then we have introduced, because of gender, we have introduced the term gender into the German language, for example. And I think it's quite the case like in Spanish or another language. So, you already said so. I'm now coming to the terminology a little bit. So first, sex. What is sex? Sex is really the biological difference between man and woman. And that has actually nothing to do with what we call gender. That is important not to mix. And so then what is the definition for gender then? socially constructed, meaning that societies attach certain expectations and perceptions and roles to women and men based on their sex. So as an example, a very famous example from the Western part is that men are always perceived to drive better a car than women can do. So that is a typical gender perception. And so as an example. What is then gender equality? So there are quite international regulations. The last and newest one is the Millennium Development Goals. We all know the MDGs 6 and 7, but the MDG 3 calls for gender equality and women's empowerment. So in an ideal world, there would be gender equality where both Mira, the woman, and Olaf, the man, have equal rights, responsibilities, and opportunities. Because in most of the societies it's the case that the woman has not the same responsibility and opportunities as men. So then they call also for empowerment, and mostly women's empowerment. So what means empowerment? Empowerment means that women and men can set their own agendas. They can secure their own skills and knowledge. They have their own self-confidence and especially own opportunities that are not forced in any direction only because of their sex. So if we see these bags that Mira and Olaf have in their hands, then we see that they both need to have knowledge, skills, decision-making, opportunities, and self-confidence. That must not mean that they have the same skills. I mean, still, women and men certainly have their special skills, but often they are not acknowledged as such. So women's skills are sometimes not acknowledged as men's skills. So the productive work that men are often doing is more acknowledged than the reproductive work that women are doing. So when it comes to decision making, a lot of men are often saying, yeah, you are talking about gender, but mostly the women are deciding on household level. Yeah, that's true. Women, like in this case from our region, a lot of women deciding on household level. But when it comes to other levels, when it comes in front of the door or on an upper level, then we see only men deciding. One exception from Germany, yes. So when it comes to decision making on a higher level, it's often men deciding. So decision making is an important issue.